So let's talk about Johannesburg. It's this absolute powerhouse of a city, right? One of Africa's most important. But here's the crazy thing. By all logic, it shouldn't even be there. So today, we're going to dive into how this city, built against all odds, became this incredible symbol of reinvention. Yeah, just think about that for a second. Johannesburg was never meant to exist. When you look at most big cities, they pop up for a reason, right? They're on a river or they have a great natural harbor. It makes sense. But Johannesburg, it had none of that. Its story isn't about geography at all. It's about this one single incredible discovery that basically willed a city into existence out of thin air. And that discovery, of course, was gold. And the rush that came after, whoa, it didn't just build a city, it was more like it violently forged one on a completely empty plain almost overnight. I mean, the speed is just mind-blowing. Think about it. Late 1800s, there's literally nothing here, just land. A decade later, in the 1890s, it's suddenly this global magnet pulling in money and people from all over the world. And then bam, by the early 1900s, you have a major city. All of it built at a breakneck pace for one reason and one reason only. And that reason, it was baked right into the city's DNA from the very beginning. Johannesburg was born as what's called an extraction economy, basically a system designed to do one thing: rip resources out of the ground for profit. So, the city wasn't planned around things like community or parks or making life nice for people. No, it was all about the cold, hard logic of labor, control, and production. It's a way of thinking that sees everything, the land, and even the people, as just another resource to be used up. But here's where it gets even darker. This whole system of control, it wasn't just about money. That same brutal logic of extraction and control was turned on people. It created a city that was, from the ground up, deliberately engineered for inequality. And you've really got to get this next part because it's so important. This history we're talking about, it isn't just something you read in a book. It is physically carved into the city's streets, its very layout. The rules of the past became the roads, the neighborhoods, the literal lines on the map that still shape people's lives every single day. And the connection is it's brutally clear. The whole urban plan under apartheid was intentional, right? It was designed for racial separation, for restricting movement, for making sure resources were distributed unequally. And the legacy of that? Well, it's exactly what you'd expect. Divided communities, people facing these soul-crushing commutes from the townships to the city's economic centers. It created an economic landscape where the inequality is literally built into the geography. I mean, it's one thing to change a political system on paper, but erasing its physical reality? That is a whole different ballgame. The urban footprint of apartheid is still there, plain as day. And what that means is you have a city that isn't just socially unequal, it's spatially unequal. By design. Okay, so that brings us to the Johannesburg of today, and man, is it an engine of contradiction. On one hand, it's this massive financial powerhouse for the entire continent, but on the other, it's still running on the old, broken tracks laid down by its deeply unequal past. See, when the gold started to run out, Johannesburg had a choice: adapt or die. And it was forced to reinvent itself. And honestly, it did it in a pretty spectacular way. It pivoted, and it became the undisputed commercial heart of South Africa. We're talking a hub for finance, big corporations, media, and now a really exciting tech scene. But, and this is a huge but, this powerful economic engine has a fundamental flaw. It is fantastic at creating wealth and opportunity, absolutely, but it's terrible at giving people equal access to that opportunity. So what you get is a city where money flows like a river, but it's a river with very, very few bridges. And this creates a city of just wild contrasts. You'll see these gleaming, ultra-luxury districts literally right next door to struggling townships. You'll have massive glass and steel corporate towers looming over informal settlements. The ambition, the hustle, you can feel it in the air. But inclusion? Not so much. And all of this pressure, this constant strain of inequality, it just wears down the foundations of the city. I'm talking about the stuff that's supposed to hold it all together. The power grid, the water systems, public transport. Everything is stretched to the absolute breaking point. So what happens when you can't rely on the public systems anymore? Well, you're forced to figure it out for yourself, right? You adapt. And it's this predictable cycle. Trust in the public stuff goes down, and so people create their own private solutions. The whole city starts to run on this idea of self-provision. You hire private security. You buy a generator for when the power goes out. You get your own water tank. Basically, the city keeps going because people are paying to do it themselves, not because the public systems are reliable. But here's the thing, out of all these cracks, all these pressures, something really amazing and unexpected starts to grow. This constant struggle has forged this incredible human response. It's a culture of reinvention that isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. And so, despite all of this, Johannesburg is culturally electric. I mean, it is just buzzing with energy. And this momentum, a lot of it driven by young people, is just exploding everywhere. You see it in the music, in the art, in the fashion, and the street culture, and for sure in this super vibrant tech and startup scene. And what's so important to understand is that this culture isn't about looking backwards. It's not nostalgia for some good old days that never really existed. No, it is pure forward momentum. It's this relentless, unstoppable drive to rewrite the story, to redefine what Johannesburg is and what it's going to be. And really, that is the essence of Johannesburg. It's a city that just refuses to be defined by where it came from or by its painful past. It is always, always remaking itself. So this incredible spirit of reinvention is now facing its biggest test yet. The huge question now is, can the city take all of this energy and use it to truly redesign its future? Can it finally confront those historical challenges head on? And look, the road ahead is not going to be easy. The city is staring down a whole list of massive challenges. You've got the constant power outages, that deep, deep inequality we've been talking about, huge youth unemployment, the strain on infrastructure, and now growing climate risks on top of it all. But if it's going to overcome all that, the city has to lean into its greatest strength. And what is that? It's that same spirit of adaptability, that same hustle that has defined it from day one. That's its most powerful asset, maybe its only true asset. Which leaves us with the big fundamental question for Johannesburg's future, doesn't it? Can a city that was literally built on extraction and division, can it actually harness all of that incredible creative energy to finally reinvent itself into a city that works for everyone? I mean, that's the ultimate test. And the answer to that question? Well, it's being written right now on the streets of the city itself.